Hi there, welcome to Pitchside. Thank you so much for checking out our content on the channel Pitchside with Tabo Peter. I keep telling you guys that whoever passes by, you definitely need 1 second to be a part of this Pitchside family. All you have to do is subscribe, hit the subscription button, and let's get growing as a family. Really excited for this edition because I'm joined by a very good colleague of mine, a brother, I should say, in the struggle. First time ever being on set, but I'm excited to have Tuka Brian, as you can see him here on Pitchside. Brian, it's a pleasure having you on Pitchside, sir.
Good to be here, Tabu.
Yes.
You're doing a good job. Well done. But also, I'm not so sure about using the word struggle. Otherwise, the show may not end before they come and check us out here. So we are better off saying
microphone
your brother in the hustle.
Hey, my brother in the hustle.
Otherwise, the struggle might sound different to in some people's ears, and we may not be able to finish the show. But yeah. I'm glad and happy to be here.
Yeah, Tuka Brian from NBS Sport, of course, without a doubt. Guys who catch up on that morning show every day, and of course that Monday night show with the rest of the gang, Andrew, Brian, Albert, John Vianney, Simbe. Guys doing a very amazing job. So Brian, we're seated here because we're going to have a little chat about the second round of the Star Times Uganda Premier League, which is going to get underway in a few hours from now, if you like, on Thursday. When the first round came to an end, the AFCON sort of covered it up here and there because everyone was paying attention to the Cranes playing at the AFCON, but now all that is under the carpet, and you should say the excitement and maybe focus is back on some teams and how they can perform. I want you to come in from here because as the second round starts, Brian, we all know that the Chitara and Vipers fiasco, there hasn't been any communication on that game, and people don't know, what is going to happen. The second round starting with that decision not out really doesn't really paint a very good picture. But your take on the second round starting and us being in that debacle of the decision not being made?
I think it's only here that such a decision will take this long. It's such a shame that the Federation continues to stay quiet in regards to such a matter. Yeah. In my view, not a difficult one to resolve. Definitely all the problems were started and brought about by them, and they had introduced a new format which was rejected massively by the fans and the clubs, but even at large the stakeholders of the game, and they reverted to the old format which everyone wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
And a couple of things had happened before that, and one of those was the Kitara Vipers game, which Vipers had made clear they were not going to turn up. Now, for me, I don't understand, because make a decision, however bad or however wrong it is, let there be a debate, but at least there's a decision made. For them to keep the public in limbo is the highest level of disrespect. And we recently hosted the FIFA president, and I was astonished by his answers, claiming that the judicial bodies is waiting on them and they are working. If you're a FIFA president and you think your judicial bodies are working and they take this long, and you're comfortable where you are, then I don't think you deserve to still be FIFA president, in all fairness, because everyone is asking and you're seated there comfortable and okay that actually this decision has not been made. And it's shocking. And like I've said, probably around East Africa, it could be the only country where such a decision will take this long and everything is okay. I feel for Kitara, I feel for Vipers, because they would love to know what the decision is. And I really hope whatever decision they will make will be one that will not need people to drag the issue along. Because if they decide to give the points to Kitara, Vipers are not going to sit back. They will not accept such a decision. Yeah. And then we might be dragging ourselves back in the mud we're in with the new format and the likes. And Vipers will be within their rights, actually, to protest. Same thing probably for Kitara if they decided to. But I think the simple decision would be replaying the game. The format under which they wanted to play the game was rejected, and the Federation had to listen to the masses by force, and they reverted to the old format. And here we are. They still don't want to give a decision on that. You see the log. I mean, where on earth do you see a log saying first round is done, but two clubs haven't played the game, and you claim that the first round is done? That's not the first round, in my view. The window was open. in regards to the transfers, but the table doesn't have a good reading. What on earth are the judicial bodies waiting for? Is there a decision they want to make that they feel they have to get certain things away or out, and then they make it because they know it will cause a lot of debate, and therefore they want to give it, they don't want it to overshadow certain things? I don't understand. It's a shame, it's embarrassing, and the federation and whatever the president said in Engineer Moses Magogo talk about the judicial bodies working. It's such a big shame that he sat on TV, people watching him, and he made such a claim that he doesn't know what's happening, he's waiting on them. He knows himself and the federation should be embarrassed about this kind of predicament we find ourselves in.
What's very interesting is that Chitara are not far off from Vipers on that table, if you look at the
absolutely
now.
Yeah.
And that decision has connotations on where Chitara will be standing if they actually get the 3 points, or if the game is replayed, or whatever decision they come up with. So at the end of the day, it's still something that has to be resolved. Even more should have been resolved before the second round kicks off.
It's not a difficult decision. I mean, they can claim for all they want, but this was an easy one. You reverted to the old format. The game was supposed to be played under the new format. It's simple. Replay the game. Everyone would be happy about it. I'm sure Kitara wouldn't mind hosting Vipers in Kitara, and you get that sorted. So if the game is going to be replayed, when will that be fixed? A first round game in the second round. If it's not going to be played, I can tell you that's a decision Vipers will not accept. And it will be interesting to see how far they go with that.
All right, so that's at least the situation that everyone is, wondering about regarding the Vipers Chitara game that wasn't played at the start of the league. We all know when the new format was thrown out of the window and returned to the old format. But Brian, at the bottom of the Star Times Uganda Premier League table is where I wanted us to, probably also talk about, because you have a couple of teams there that maybe some have resigned themselves to not playing in the league next season. Others are trying to make sure that the second round is where they make it count. Calvary is bottom there, just 4 points in as many games. You have a Buhimba somewhere. You have a UPDF somewhere. Are you in a position of saying Club XY, they are done? Or do you think maybe UPDF could swim to survive? There's a URA also close there.
I don't expect URA to be part of that fight. I think they have what it takes to come out of that, much as they've had such a terrible first round. I think Calvary will need an almighty miracle to survive, in all fairness. If you've followed Ugandan football for quite some time, usually when the club finds itself in that position, but also financially struggling, the chances of surviving are almost non-existent in Uganda. If you look at all the clubs that have been relegated in the recent past, it's down to finances. And not only finances, you could say the main thing, but also the management. Because by the time you get yourself in that position, because I've not seen so many teams you can say are well organized but have failed to just find enough to manage their teams. Management also plays a part, either the way they've run the club, the way they've managed the finances they got earlier. I'll be really surprised if Calvary managed to. It will be an almighty comeback, like I've said. So I think most likely they will go. The advantage this season is that they're going to relegate 2 clubs.
Yeah.
So while it might look extremely tight, there will be also 1 or 2 clubs saying we should be good enough not to be in the bottom 3. So the battle, I think, for the last spot for me has got to be Buhimba, Barara and UPDF. I don't see which other. Lugazi probably might find a way, but they won't be too far off. I think they should be in and around there. But UPDF have showed over the years that surviving such battles of relegation. Mbarara, I've got to be extremely careful because they've been relegated before. And when you look at the circumstances under which they've been relegated before, they are the same circumstances they find themselves in. Poor management, then the finances clearly not looking good. And I think for me over the years, because a club like Mbarara for me does not have to be the most stable financially, but should not lack the basics in my view. You are in Mbarara, if they had the right management, if they did just the minimum in doing the right things, you have a huge advantage of identity. The people in Mbarara would have supported you. Why on earth do you fail just to get even the basics? Because in my view, they stand in a position where there's so many influential people in Mbarara.
Absolutely.
If they just got their house in order, I am sure so many people will be willing to help that club. The fact that it's from Mbarara.
I mean, Chigezi Homeboys is doing well. So.
Well, no, we have always been brilliant people from Kabale. Let's make that clear. And they do. They move around to talk to a few individuals to help them. They are not in the best of position, but I think they can also do better. But they haven't yet joined the league to go back and the likes. Definitely, even Chigezi Homeboys need to do much better and to Ghana and ensure that people in Kabale actually identify with the club. But back to Mbarara, for me, I don't think they've done a good enough job. And sometimes we're not sure if Mwine Mpaka owns the club or not. Sometimes we feel he owns it, he appears, then he disappears. I was really, really disturbed and disappointed in their statement that they released about players bringing the club into disrepute. Yet clearly they're claiming for what they rightly deserve, which is their salaries. I mean, if you haven't paid someone for 4 or 5 months, where do you get the right to claim that is being indisciplined? And that's the highest level of disrespect to players. So, if Mbarara don't sort those issues,
they're not going to help themselves.
For me, they're in big trouble. I'll be very honest with you. But if you ask me, I think whoever will join Calvary, if there's no almighty miracle for Calvary, it's got to be Mbarara, UPDF, Buhimba in there. And Lugazi. The 4 teams, I think, for me, one of those will join Calvary.
All right. So earlier on you mentioned URA, and you of course said they cannot be involved in that war of survival and all. But also they've not impressed in the first round, despite the investment that they've put in and the expectations people have for them. Hussein Balangu is at the wheel now. Didn't end the first round well. They've gone out there and I think they're making so many signings here and there. What do you make of that team in the second? What are your expectations? Just how fairly okay can they perform, really?
To start with, I think URA for me, resources vis-a-vis what they have been able to do. I think in the last 10 years, URA could easily be the worst club in the league. I'll be very honest with you. I think they are. What they have showed and what they are, I think for me in the last 10 years could easily be the worst team in the Uganda Premier League, because I get a feeling you give those resources to so many clubs that we have seen go down or struggle, there will be a much better position. URA should be in position to compete for the title each and every season. And I don't remember the last time they competed for that. Probably the 2021, the one that Express won, where the season had to be cut short.
Sam Simba
and exactly, when Sam Simba was in charge, and they were clearly undone by COVID. Up to today, Sam Simba will tell you that should have been our trophy. If we play the games and finish the season, we win the trophy. I think since, and that's, you could say in the last 10 years probably they could have gone all the way with 3 or 4 games to go and they're still involved. Maybe done it once or twice. Yeah. Now, like I said, for a club of their stature, the resources they have, they should be doing much better. They've been all over the place, and I think for me, partly is because of the money. Not partly, but it's purely management, because the money is not lacking. These stories we've had, there are players who haven't gotten their sign-on fee and the likes. Those could be glitches in the management, but I don't think the management has done a good enough job to build a proper football club. And on the pitch, forget about all the other departments, but on the pitch, I mean, they sack coaches. I don't think they even understand why they sack these coaches. They had gotten themselves a good coach who I still believe would have taken them to the next level in David Obua, and they let him go. What reasons were they giving? Probably he wasn't good enough. I spoke to a few people in the club and they were talking about, every time you hear a statement, Uganda tabisobola.
Too strict.
No, Uganda tabisobola. You know that they don't want something right to be done. I mean, people have become comfortable in calling themselves mediocres or being below average. That's why you make a statement like he cannot manage things of Uganda. So since they sacked him, have you already gotten better or they've gotten worse?
Of course.
Anybody who has been watching, I think, would realize they've gotten worse. Then they've brought in Isabide, they've let Isabide go. If meantime they leave Golora goes. They bring in Balangu. Every time they've made changes, it's gotten worse. And like I've said, with the players they have, with the resources they have, they should be doing much, much better. I've been seeing links of the clubs, rather the players that have been linked to URA. I don't understand why they need those players, because they already have players who can do that job. Yeah. If you talk about Moses Waiswa, what can Namanya do that? What can Namanya do that? No man Namanya do that. Waiswa does. Yeah. What can Tibita do that they want to bring him in? You have Waman, you have, I mean, they've got a variety of players who can do exactly what Waiswa, what Senfuka, and all the other guys they've been linked to can do. It's because of the setup in the team and the order. There's no order. I've been told of a player at URA who trains whenever they want, and they spent some good money on him, brought him in, and he does whatever they want. That's purely management. So I've been extremely disappointed. They should be doing much, much better. URA should be battling for the championship each and every season. And for them not to do it and be in the position they are in at the moment in the league, say the least, really disappointing.
Really disappointing there for URA. So there's clearly not. Let's wait and see what they'll offer. But it's going to be an interesting situation. I want to go to NEC, Police FC, UPPC, but a brief one for Express FC, who are getting into the second round. Probably it's the one team that if they told them the second round has been paused and can probably happen in the next 1 month, they will be the happiest because of what is happening. The player exodus and the administrative issues. Hey man,
I think if Express look at the table today,
yes,
they would be the happiest football club in Uganda to be where they are today. Ordinary it should be worse than that, I'll be very honest. And I don't even know how they do it, because when you have players who don't train 2 days before the game, each one of them moves by themselves to the game and that kind of stuff, no payment to the players. Who runs Express? Could anybody explain to me that? Nobody knows actually who's in charge. Is it the Attorney General? Is it his brother? Is it someone else? Nobody knows.
Is it Mr. Chirumira?
Exactly. Is it Mr. Ham Chigun? We don't know. I mean, and we're talking about the oldest football club in the league here, and one of the most successful. I think in terms of titles, they're third behind Villa and KCCA. And each and every season, we hear such stories. Apart from 1 or 2, I mean, when Keka just done when you are part of the club, is the last time they look like a traditional football club in this country. And since then, it's been completely different. I mean, the coaches who go there because maybe they have no job somewhere. You want to make a case for yourself in terms of building your CV. The players go there, I don't even think they have contracts. I think they just tell them, I'm willing to play for you, but anytime when I get a deal, I should be able to move. Maybe they sign 6-month contracts. That's where they are. And it's a bit sad. The fans have showed their disappointment in the team and the management. And I don't know for how long this will go on, but let's not forget, was it 2013 or something when they almost got relegated and to survive on the last day?
Yeah, Alfred Leku.
I'll tell you something. They are not too far off. If they're not careful, this continues into next season, and the other teams that are getting themselves set, I'll not be surprised if that happens. What is keeping them now is that the players who are willing to go to Express because of the name and because they know they can use it as a springboard to get to the next level. I mean, we've seen now the ones who have left, Basangwa, Wandera, Kawawa, and Kagawa. They knew what they were doing. They felt, you know what, let's go to Express. They'll give us playing time, no pressure, but we make it clear. We get a deal, we are moving immediately. Mustafa Kiza did it when he was there, left before. I think even 6 months had elapsed. It's a big shame the position they find themselves, but also it's not too far off from a true reflection and picture of Ugandan football in terms of management.
Absolutely. All right, so there are a couple of teams now that have gotten people talking, especially from the first round. They put in solid performances. I think let's start with Police FC and Coach Matia Lule. They started with a couple of players that very many people knew had played quite a number of league games or played league football in the country, and like the story begins, many are like, yeah, they've been there, they've done that, will they be able to perform well? By the end of the first round, many people were talking about that Police FC team and what Matiale has put together. Just how much do you expect of them to perform in the second round?
It's going to be interesting to see what they will look like in the second round, because I'm sure they have also surprised themselves with the performances and how good they've looked in the first round. They've been, for me, you expect Vipers to do a good job. Clearly, you expect them to be where they are. KCC, because of the name, you'd expect them to be there, and SC Villa. But the job police have done, and UPPC for me has been the most impressive. And Matia Lule as a coach has massively improved. And for me, I love it when coaches take a step back, reflect, and realize they need to improve themselves. And it's what he has done. The Matia Lule that was coaching in Uganda before he left for TZ is a different matter here today.
Absolutely.
I've watched Police a couple of times this season. They played some good football. They've been disciplined. They've balanced it up with some good football sometimes, effective, but also when they needed to get a result, be as ugly as they can. So I've been really impressed with the all-round play that they've showed. And they also give him credit, the manner in which he went about the business. I mean, Ikamba, the Congolese he brought, has been such a revelation. I think he's third on the scoring chart. Found a couple of players
Kalanzi,
at Police who have also improved. Kalanzi, one of those. Said Cheyuna, I think, a couple of games has looked really good. Matovu, I think, has also clearly looked good as left back. In terms of being effective.
Obedi has been
Brian has also massively improved. I've been impressed with what he has done. He still can improve as a player in terms of decision making, but I have loved what they have done and they've massively improved. There's a couple of players that I've expected to be better, like Charles Barley. I don't think he showed what he's capable of doing. The Charles Barley we saw before he left for Rwanda when he was playing for Sevilla. But overall, I think Police will be very, very happy the position they find themselves in, and I think they'll keep going. And they have a huge advantage of playing at their own stadium at Kira Road, very good pitch, and they've maximized on that, gotten some good results. I think they've only lost one game there to Kitara, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember them losing any other game at Police. They beat KCC there quite convincingly. They've gone away and made it difficult for some teams. I've been really impressed, and Matiale will be hoping that they'll continue doing that. The challenge for them now, people will take them more serious in the second round. That's one. Secondly, anything less than what they have done, I'm not so sure the management will be quite impressed, so they would expect them to get better. I hope they don't clearly ask too much of themselves. I think if Police finish in the top half, that will be success. Nobody expects them to challenge for the title. So if they just build on what they have done, because you can be sure they won't be relegated, which must have been the target at the start. So what they'll be looking at, because of how good they were in the first round, they would want to finish as high as they can. Can they do that? We only wait and see. But with what they have done and having that advantage of the stadium, I think they're capable of continuing the form. But it will be difficult in the second round.
Yeah, it will be difficult. That's because Entebbe UPPC is the other team that got promoted, and towards the end of the first round, got that consistency and see where they are now. The first round ends and everyone is talking about them. They have a top scorer in Chigozi who's been scoring goals. Abdallah Mobiru seems like he's gotten his things right now at Entebbe UPPC.
I don't know what people will make of the statement I'm about to make, but I think this is the best stint Abdallah has had at the football club all round.
Oh wow, that's a big one.
All round, yeah. Because
you're talking Police, you're talking his previous stint at KCCA, you're talking
whichever, Pro Line and the likes. You know why?
Why?
When he was at Police, they played good football, they were entertaining. Results were tough to come by. I know it's just the first round, but even at Police, these results couldn't come. When he had just picked it up at KCCA, he was brilliant. Towards the end of it, he came close actually to battling when it felt like KCCA were going to fight for relegation. Yeah. And I think they finished third or something the season when he came close to winning. Because I think towards the end of the season, is it on the final or second last day, KCCA still had the chance actually to win the title.
Yeah.
The season before last, when Villa won it.
Yes.
But the difference between all those tenures is at the other clubs and this one is that Police have looked the closest an Abdallah Mobiru team has looked like winning a championship, apart from the recent one of KCCA, is this one here. How often have you seen Abdallah Mobiru's teams win games by 1-0? More than 3 or 4 results, and they don't concede?
Rarely.
They've kept about 6 clean sheets.
Yeah.
That's not Abdallah Mobiru, and it's not that he didn't want his teams to keep clean sheets or be poor in defense, but I think the teams he had and the players failed to balance the attack and the defending. Yeah. Now, he went and recruited such a good technical team. I get a feeling he's been in charge of probably the football from the center going forward, and he said anything from the goalkeeper to the center, Jajawaru, Walusimbi Godfrey, and Livingstone Babas, you're in charge. Now, when you look at that team play, it represents the character and the personalities of the coaches. Abdallah Mobiru loves free-flowing football, loves his teams to be in charge of games. And then you've got Livingstone Babas who wants his teams to work really hard, be defensively disciplined. Jajawaru helps on that at the same time. They've a true reflection, the way they played, of what their technical team looks like. And they've done a magnificent job. I've been extremely impressed. For me, best team in the first one. Could have easily been Police, but because of where UPPC finished, I think they've been very, very impressive. Brought in a couple of players. Little known Ambrose Chigozi, now leading scorer. He doesn't do much,
and he
but
scored quality goals, to be honest.
He's a very effective player.
Yeah.
The goal he scored against Cases, I was sitting next to my friends, I've been saying this, and I told him, you see that guy there? Because I think he's number 19. I'm not good with jerseys, I just know people's
19
faces.
years.
I think he's jersey 19. And I told them, he's there, he's almost doing nothing, but he will get one chance, and he will tuck it away. And guess what? Before the half was out, Ambrose goes long ball, controls, brilliant finish, UPPC 1-0, and that's how the game ended. It's been brilliant. He wasn't playing the top tier league. I think he was playing in the region, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So, and it's not the first time Abdallah has picked up players like those and improved them. And because he's a teacher, he's just not a coach. He improves players. Yeah. And I think Ambrose Chigozi can only get better. Because if he has been able to score, I think he's got 8 goals now. Yeah. 7 or 8.
8.
If he's able to score that when he's missed a couple and when you expect him to improve, he can only get better. I've been really impressed with everything UPPC have done. The hope will be the management continues supporting the technical team and the club, and the players keep believing and fighting, because also there's a danger of our players getting comfortable and feeling, you know what, we're not going to be relegated. That should have been the target. We are good. But if you're UPPC and look at that log and the players you have all sorts of reasons to be overly ambitious if it doesn't hurt you in any way. So as long as you can manage it, I think you can be overly ambitious and even dream of finishing the top half, not top half, rather going for the title. Why not? I mean, what are you going to lose? You can't be relegated. Give it all your best.
Absolutely. And when you add Henry Chiseka and Salibayano in that technical team.
Yeah, exactly. I hadn't even talked about those guys, because I'm sure probably Chiseka has been doing a lot of work with Ambrose Chigozi. Yeah. Bayana has been working on the fitness of the players, so they look a really good team. All
right, so that's Entebbe UPPC for you. So we're going to get in the top 3 mix of the table. Of course, Sports Club Villa is in there, Vipers are top, KCCFC is in there. But just before we do that, NEC FC, the other team that had come into the mix, I think, last season, even towards last season, and the season before that, because of the quality of players that signed and the expectations people had about them. But the second round gets to start, and they've lost quite a number of players. I know they are beefing up here and there. But what's your take with Coach Badru and that NEC team? You think they can make something out of the second round?
They've been really disappointing in the first round. Yeah. From the time when they had Mbalangu, then let Mbalangu leave, and then brought in Kadu Badru, you haven't seen much change, I'll be very honest, especially in terms of results. For a team that has been to the Stanbic Uganda Cup final, finished second last season in the Uganda Premier League, you would have expected them to be much, much better. And they brought in some really good players, very experienced. I'm sure they've spent some good money. When you look at the log, while the log reads, 7th? Yeah. I'm not so sure the performance reflects actually 7th. For a second, I felt they were about in the bottom half. Yep. That's what I thought initially. They've been disappointed. The results have to be better. Otherwise, KB, I think, will be in trouble with his job unless the management has changed style of going about the coaches. He's brought in 4 players who he knows really well, who have done the job at Express. Can they improve the team? I can only wait and see. I feel he's tried to put his blueprint, introduce his blueprint in the team, but it looked like they're struggling to move from where they were under Mbalangu to what he's trying to do. Yeah. At times you can see what they are trying to do, but the application has been extremely difficult for the players to do that. Yet they have technical gifted players who should be able to do that. But also I think, again, it goes back to a bit of management. Do they let the coaches do their job? Is there someone whispering in the ears of the CEO or the chairman and the likes? When such things happen around football clubs, stability is hard to come by. And the coaches' jobs are made extremely difficult. So you hope that they will let KB do his job. And I'm not so sure this season would be enough. Yes, he came in a bit early, but I'm not sure it will be enough. It would be better give him this season. Let him have pre-season, probably bring in the players if he can do the job. Then next season you can make a fair judgment of what he can do. But they know of all people, they need to be better. And 15 games in the second round is a lot of football. So I would expect them to be much better than they were. Otherwise, anything less, someone may lose their job, but also could look really ugly for them.
Yeah, the expectations, I'm pretty sure at NEC are way up there, especially with the officials that are running that club. Sports Club Villa. One of those days I was scrolling through my content on TikTok, and I found a very interesting video of you and the Sports Club Villa coach. You trying to pronounce his name or asking him how the name
Jelko.
is? Jelko.
The other one I'm not pronouncing. Jelko, but I remember Jelko at least.
Yeah, but Jelko Tuka, I want to think he's really, set his footprint on Sports Club Villa. At least in the first round, it's one of those teams you feel has given quite a good account of themselves, especially with the players that they have. The Semakulas, the Hassan Mobirus, not too far off from Vipers as the second round gets underway. Just how much can Villa push Vipers before the season comes to an end?
I've talked about Police and Uppc being two of the best teams in the first one, but not necessarily. Probably should have used different language. The teams that have impressed me the most, but also have looked good, in all honesty. But for me, the best team in terms of playing the game has been SC Villa. What a job Jelka has done. I've been extremely impressed. Every time I've gone to watch SC Villa, the pace at which they play, the organization on the pitch, you can clearly see a well-coached team, a team that has done something at the training and trying to apply it.
The intention is visible.
It's very visible. I've been telling everyone who cares, even including officials of different clubs, that it pays to hire a good coach. And when you watch Villa play, it clearly shows you how important it is to hire a good coach, because they played with order, they played with the plan. It's been quite impressive. And it showed that also when you have a good coach and stick to the plan and be serious about it, it's not even about your best players, because Kakande has barely contributed to the first round of SC Villa's success. Why? I think because probably the coach felt he wasn't fit enough, he wasn't giving enough in terms of the physicality that they need for a team, in terms of giving something, both going forward but also tracking back. I've seen players who looked, like Mike Untebi used to say, play like a headless chicken. Look like some of the best players in this country. Kasinde, Najibu Iga, who used to wonder where exactly does he play. Probably Jelka has given us the answer. Talk about the left back Semayange, how good he's looked, and David Owori. I love how when they're attacking, go infield and create numbers so that they are able to cause problems for the opposition.
Lukwago is also playing as a sweeper.
Lukwago, for me, easily could be after Omedua Rogers. For me, could be the next best goalkeeper in the league at the moment. I've been extremely impressed with the young goalkeeper. He wasn't playing in the top division. And then he's introduced, comfortable with his feet. He's made some really top saves. He can only get better. Hopefully he focuses and continues doing well. So Villa have gotten so many things right. Of course, someone would ask you, the team you're praising like that, where are they in the table? They're still, I think they're on 30 points.
Yeah, they're on 30
so
points.
So 6 points behind SC Villa, Vipers. Who if they play that game and win it, it will be 9. And if Vipers go 9 points, I'm not so sure there's going to be a team that will catch them. But playing well did not mean that they will be winning every game. Because remember, this is the coach's first season in Ugandan football. When you compare what he has done, and usually when a guy has just come in, I feel he's done really, really well. And 15 games is a lot of football. Villa will beat a couple more teams. Even if they don't win, I've been extremely impressed. I think they can build on that. And next season they should be much, much better. I think they're still going to be a tough team in the second round, and I expect them to improve. And
pile more pressure on Vipers. But the other team that is also trying to make sure that they play catch-up is KCCFC. Very, very good. First 7, 6, 8 games before the AFCON break. But after that, they've been blowing hot and cold. Now it's the time for the business end of the season, which is the second round. Brian Senyondo, Jackson Magera, they clearly have their work cut out.
Yeah, when someone hears me again praising all the other teams and I don't feel like I'm praising KCC, it would sound like I'm extremely harsh on them. I think they've done an okay job. Brian Senyondo and Jackson Magera. Could they have done better? Absolutely, yes. I think they've dropped points in games they shouldn't have dropped games in. One of those was in Luzira against Maroons, dominant in possession without hurting Maroons that much, especially in the final third. That's something they need to correct. I've watched a couple of games where Havana MBC, but for me, has been isolated a couple of times. Yes, maybe at times he hasn't given it enough fight, but you don't expect a guy to be holding up play sometimes, and the guys who are supposed to be playing close to him about 20-30 meters away, and their bodies of the opposition in there. So they have to resolve that. They need to have presence in the final third. Sometimes I think they are too worried about stopping the opponents than actually them going at them. That's something they need to work on. I think the break didn't help them, and it's not the first time KCC have gone into breaks and then don't return the same. They would hope this one is for the good. The fact that the other one, when it came, it didn't leave them the same. They expect to welcome a couple of players back. I mean, Gabi has not played the entire first round. It should be such a huge addition in terms of creativity, in terms of goals. Katenga, same thing, is barely played. I mean, whichever way you look at it, Brata Nukanu is made good use of. He could also help. Gatbell, the young player, could also help. So those, I think, are going to add a lot of goals, flair, but also creativity in the team. I would expect them to go toe-to-toe with Vipers and the Civil like KCCA. The challenge is going to be if the coaches are going to be bold enough in games where they need to go at teams, if they will do that. Because at times I feel they're too worried about the opposition than actually them playing like the big boys, and they go at teams.
Yeah. All right. So tough one there for KCCFC, but the end game is they need to step up because it's been a minute since they won silverware.
It's been a long time. I think I was there. Was it 2019? That's a long time.
Yeah, it's
and that's why probably even when we're judging them, we judge them from that front rather than what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah.
It's because how much they've taken without winning. Every season they seem to promise. Well, we had Brian Senyondo on our show.
I
sport
watched
this
the
morning.
interview.
Yeah, and he was saying he wants to say it without any fear of contradiction that KCC will have a trophy.
Oh.
That's what he assured the fans and the public, that KCC will have a trophy. Which one it is, we wait to see. Whether it's Stanbic Uganda Cup or StarTimes Uganda Premier League, we wait.
All right.
In fact, he said 2 or at least 1. So we wait.
That's a confidence from Brian Senyondo. At the top of the log is Vipers, who of course have won 7 league titles, chasing for an 8th league title. And by the time the first round ended, everyone was talking about the quality Vipers had, the goals that were scoring, an array of players. They were Tambala, Usama, Gusto Mulongo, and all of the other players. Doesn't seem like Vipers are about to stop. I mean, someone was saying this league could be wrapped up as early as possible with how Vipers are playing. You think this is something Vipers is going to wrap up real quick?
And I'm not so sure about wrapping it up real quick, but anything is possible because of they just know how to win. I mean, I've watched a couple of their games. I've not been impressed at all with how they played. I've joked around with one of their coaches, telling him, this is not the kind of football I'm sure you'd want to watch your team play.
Yeah.
But who cares when you're top of the log and you have 6 points and you have a game in hand, 6-point lead and you have a game in hand? I mean, nobody would care about that. The challenge for Vipers is that when we're judging them, we just don't judge them as a Uganda Premier League champion. You want to see a team that plays a bit with more structure, with more plan, with a bit of fluidity because of the players they have.
And convincing.
Exactly, and convincing. Because when they win here and go to the continent, you're not going to play that sort of football and expect to flourish or do well. You'll be figured out. And it's exactly what has happened, or what happened when they tried qualifying for the Champions League group stages and stopped by Power Dynamos. So they have to be much better. But in terms of personality, character, they've got so many match winners. They've got so much personality. At times you see them struggling in games. Before you know, Watambara gets them a winner. Usama Arafat now, Yunus, Karisa. I mean, you can go on and on. How many players have Gusto Mulongo himself that you've talked about? Chukua now, I think. They've got a lot of talent, embarrassing riches in terms of talent on the pitch. But they have to be a bit more convincing, not just to win here, but also to play well on the continent. But going by our league and talking our league, KCC and SC Villa, if you could throw in an outsider in UPPC, I've got to practically do ×3 to catch Vipers. It's going to be difficult. Can they do it? Yes, I think they can, but it will be extremely difficult. They practically have no margin for error. Yet on the other hand, Vipers can afford the mistake or a slip or two, and they can still stay top or be confident that they can win. On the other hand, the opponents can't.
And not talk about Vipers and how they've made home or stay in their fortress. with every team that goes there, they try to make sure that they pick up 3 points. That's a huge advantage for them right there. But yeah, it's been maybe for the top scorers, you think Ambrose Chigozi can go all the way?
I think
Double
it's still
figures.
Think about top scoring. Someone can go on a run and clear in 3, 4, 5 games, they score about 3 or 4 goals. So still way up there. But I think with the chances that UPPC do create, I think Ambrose Chigozi will be in there with shout. Let's not forget also, we haven't talked much about Kitara, but I mean, Kadu is second on the log.
He's in there. Yeah,
quietly, he's been going about his business. He's a scorer when you create chances for him. So Ambrose Chigozi, Kadu, Ivan Imbisibo, you can't rule him out entirely. Watch out for Sebufu. He picked it up towards the end of the first round, and is capable of scoring because this Sevilla team do create chances, and they look like they'll create opportunities for him. So those 4 for me have got a huge chance to finish as top scorers.
Alexis Xavier Bull, briefly.
He's been there before. He knows the club. I think they had to make a change. Probably the players were tired of listening to the same voice. Not that he had been there forever, but that's what it felt like when Isabide came in. Results started changing. I want to believe. I think it's not the first time they had a poor first round and then went on to improve and get better in the second round.
Yeah,
I think they'll be better than they were in the first round with Alexis Xavier there.
All right, Brian Tuka, NBS Sport, thank you very much for joining me on Pitchside.
Thank you, sir, for having me. I appreciate it. And for you out there that is watching, please subscribe and do not forget to share your feedback and comments so that we keep giving you these big stories in Uganda football. As always, keep it pitchside. Cheers.